4, 3.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. All my feelings. How are you, sir?
Good, how you doing, buddy?
What is the Reel McCoy? You might ask. The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go and watch a movie. You watch it, come back to us, and we break it down, and we spin it all around on this rack o' movies that I want to have here, but I don't because I'm an idiot. Anyway, we asked you last week to go and watch In Bruges. Now, why In Bruges, ladies and gentlemen? That's very easy. The month of January is Oh My Feelings' birthday month. We're kind of celebrating your birthday today, but not really, right?
Kind of, a couple days early, but it'll work.
So we devised a plan when we're preparing the whole year, that I will pick all the movies for Oh My Feelings, and he will pick mine when it comes to my birthday month. However, on the date of or very close to, we will both pick up a movie that we're both very interested in and want to cover on our birthday. So we picked In Bruges. Tell me, Oh My Feelings, why In Bruges?
I do believe this is one of the first films when we discussed about creating the podcast. This was one in the top 10 of the list of films that we should have reviewed. And we could never really nail it down specifically into one particular genre or month. We didn't want to obviously do a Colin Farrell month because that's a sad state of affairs.
Oh, hell no. If you look at the chat, you will see that James Dosher and Sleazy that are here, thank you guys, thank you for coming, mentioned that a few movies starring or involving Colin Farrell, and they're all terrible.
Which, oddly enough, the same director I was going to recommend for a film later is The Banshees of Inisherin, starring two of the same actors and the same director.
So, yeah, which I still haven't seen, but
really good.
It's on my list. Yeah, it's sort of like we talked about it when the movie came out. I'm talking about Banshees of Inisherin, and you said you went to watch it and you were impressed, and you were like, "Oh, this is in in sort of the milieu of In Bruges. And I was like, yeah, I wanted to see In Bruges for a while. And it's like I put it off, I put it off, I put it off. And a few months back, I've seen it, like maybe even 6 months. I've seen it for the first time, and I liked it. I loved it because it's a different type of movie that you would normally get. So like, it's not a blockbuster, it's not a cult classic, although I've seen a few like on the research stuff that people call it a cult classic. I wouldn't go that
I wouldn't
far.
say when we get to the behind the screen stuff with its budget and how much it grossed, it's not a cult classic. It can't be defined as a cult classic.
Yeah, I would not put it in that category, but yeah, so it's not a cult classic, it's not a blockbuster.
I would
It
consider it like a mid-budget independent film.
kind of, but it's not one of the things that you would like if you look at the 131 movies that we've covered on the show. I can't believe we covered that much, but
Yeah.
131 movies that we already covered. I was like, that's a very you can't put this thing in a category. I would say dark comedy drama. I don't know what to call it. It's a gangster movie, but it's not a gangster movie.
Yeah.
It's sort of not here and not there. And you mentioned this, so let's start us off with Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
Behind the Screens is where we go to Oh My Feelings, get the lowdown on everything that is behind the scenes, production stuff. Take it away, dude.
Which is very interesting to start off with. Given that it had a $15 million budget, which is pretty big for what it was at the time. Even though it was on 2006, quote unquote, the blacklist, which the blacklist is the most popular scripts that are being floated around
Yep.
at the time.
Yeah.
Still got a $15 million budget for something that it's really more of a character piece more than anything else. Because there are a couple of action scenes, but there's really not.
Yes.
You can kind of call it Harry chasing Ray at the end, kind of an action piece, but it's really not. But it's more of a character drama in the vein of, well, we're going to get to the references and the homages where you go, okay, now I get where the writer was coming from when he got this. But
Yeah.
anyway, so a $15 million budget. Now it's different because varying different sources have different amount of the actual overall gross.
Now, yeah, I had a hard time nailing it down too. So one source said 34 million,
34.5. Yeah.
Yeah, and 8.5 domestic. It's sort of all.
But then another one that I saw that had 8.9 and then 38.9 million total. So it's anywhere between 35 and 40 million dollars overall gross. So given the fact that it had zero marketing, it definitely made back its money.
Yes, it did.
But to start off with, the original script actually had Ray and Ken being British.
I thought so. Yeah. I read it later, but I had a feeling, was like, okay, go on.
They changed they changed them to being Irish to fit Farrell and Gleeson's natural accents.
Yep.
Yeah. To keep the theme, Bruges actually kept holiday lighting and decorations up in several city center squares and had to give out formal written notifications of the reason why they hadn't taken down the holiday decorations for over 3 months.
Yeah. First of all, you don't mess with the EU, the EU rules. But yeah, I've read that and I was like, what Christmas decorations?
Well, it's just the holiday lighting that's around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they meant. It's not like it's like trees all over the place.
It's not like Home Alone, okay?
No, it's definitely not Home Alone.
Yeah. The film, oddly enough, in its entirety, took total soup to nuts 12 weeks to film. 12 weeks in the can, done.
Yeah.
Now, when Ray and Ken check into the hotel, they go under the name Colin and Berkeley, which is actually an homage to the characters that played the hitmen in the classic The Dumbwaiter. Now, if you ever see The Dumbwaiter, you go, "Oh wow, this is where he got In Bruges from."
I've never seen it. Never
Watch it.
seen it. Okay.
Watch it, you go, oh, okay, I get it.
So he wrote the script, or was he inspired by that?
Inspired by it.
Okay.
Inspired. There are a lot of homage in this. When the characters are actually visiting the Groening Museum, they focus on several major paintings. The obvious one is The Last Judgment by Hermann Heimes Bosch. And Bosch comes up multiple times. He's actually referenced at the end when it's the film. It's supposed to be an homage to Bosch. But the whole bit about The Last Judgment is really playing off the characters themselves, because in their own way, In Bruges itself is their form of purgatory before they pass on and they receive their final judgment.
Yeah.
Let's see here. When Ken receives the call from Harry, Orson Welles on the TV, Touch of Evil is playing.
Yeah, I did notice that. I was like, that's a very interesting choice. Sometimes they we talked about this, sometimes they put stuff in the background, just like in Office Space, where it's like, if you've seen it, that is like a filmmaker's Easter egg, kind of, I thought, which fits into that theme. But
what's interesting about the Touch of Evil shot, though, is that shot particular that they actually focus in on when Ken receives the call is one continuous shot that is done afterward. And notice the call that Ken has with Harry is one continuous shot with Ken on the phone with Harry.
Yeah. When he's like, "Oh, Ray,
Ray,
you out of the bathroom?
No, go down to the pub for 30 minutes. I know he said it wasn't okay. Go ahead. Go. It's okay. Are you sure he's not outside?"
I loved it the first time I watched it, and I loved it the second time I watched it, because that is so ridiculously stupid, but that's exactly how it's gonna go.
Yes. Now there are some scenes that they kind of cut from the screenplay, and they also cut from the original production shoot. One actually contained a scene where it shows Ray surviving at the end.
Okay.
So it's not left on a cliffhanger like the film is.
Okay.
There is a scene that depicts more of the reason why Harry has such a strict moral code.
Yeah.
Especially like when they killed a boy, I would have shot myself.
Yeah.
Shows Harry when he was a younger man, when he's actually in a nightclub, and one of his partners is holding the corpse of a young night girl dancer, and he finds out who shot her. It was a corrupt police detective. He decapitates him.
Okay.
Yeah. They cut that because they thought the CGI blood and decapitation looked too fake.
The only thing I have about any deleted scenes is that the fact that the guy playing young Harry is Matt Smith, the guy from Doctor Who.
Yep. One of the doctors. He's also in the new House of the Dragon.
Yes.
See what else there's a whole dialogue that Harry has with strangers on a train where he just lambasts them. That was cut completely because they're like, well, he already seems like an asshole, so we don't need to make it anymore. And there's also a conversation about double carriageways that was cut later.
Okay. Anything else? We got two more things here. The movie has a very high F word count, so a fuck count.
I think, is it at 1.18 fucks per minute?
Yes, 126 times, which is longer than the 107 minutes including
runtime
credits. Yeah.
When Ray actually refers to the dwarf and time bandits,
yes,
he's referring to David Rappaport, who actually did commit suicide. But there is another one that he mentions that did not. He had health complications.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And on a personal note, Peter Dinklage, we're waiting.
In another deleted scene, Ray and Ken are actually discussing the murder of the priest.
Yeah.
And Ray assumes that it was due to kid stuff.
Oh, involving a bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while Ken actually counters that it was due to a land deal because the priest was trying to oppose Harry buying land that was previously owned by the church.
Okay.
But what's interesting about that is the exact same reasons for the murder of the Archbishop in Primal Fear.
I haven't seen Primal Fear in a long time.
Yeah, those are the two main motives of the reason why he was murdered.
Okay. One little thing, and that's something from the director himself. When they do look, you mentioned the museum, and they're looking at the picture of the purgatory, and Ray's trying to understand why, like, okay, we've got heaven, we've got hell. What's purgatory? And Ken explains, like, it's not, you're not going up, you're not going down, you're just waiting for judgment. And Ray says that it's just like Tottenham Hotspurs. They're not up, they're not down, they're like somewhere in between. And when the director wrote it, Tottenham Hotspurs, which was a Premier League
football team. Yeah, it's always it's kind of like it's like the Browns. They're never going to make it to the Super Bowl. They're always just there.
Exactly, sort of. But if you're down, you could be relegated to a different league.
Yeah,
that's how soccer works. But after he wrote it, actually Tottenham Hotspurs won the Premier League.
Oh.
Ruined the whole thing.
Ruined the whole joke. Yeah.
Was mad at them, but he couldn't be mad at them because he was a supporter of them.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it's literally like an NFL guy writing about his, my Cleveland Browns or my precious Cincinnati Bengals that always kind of almost make it to the playoff, but this year they won the Super Bowl. So it's kind of like this.
Yeah.
Just a comparison, but that's basically what I got. The rest of them is during the movie.
Yep.
Just a quick question. How many times did you manage to watch it this week?
Twice.
I twice myself. Once at the start of the week and once today, rather recently. So I wanted to squeeze in another viewing. Only managed to do it today in parts. So I had to go away, come back. I had to literally take the movie on my phone. So where I was going, I knew there wasn't an available TV, so I had to watch a quarter of the movie on my phone. Then I had to leave.
I said that would just be so funny if you were on the bus and your Bluetooth headset just cut out. It just starts blaring fucks.
First of all, I don't use Bluetooth headsets.
Okay.
But that would have been funny where Ken throws himself off the bell tower and a neighbor would have seen it because it's weird and awful. All right, cool. To start us off, so the movie kind of begins with, of course, me not doing my due diligence.
The right thing. Well, it starts with this basically just a blank screen of Ray explaining kind of what happened after the killing. And then Ray explaining, I didn't even know where the fuck Bruges was. Turns out it's in Belgium.
And it was like, wow, people are dumb. People don't know where things are. Because I knew where in Bruges was. Before a few months back, I understood the title. I just didn't know what In Bruges, as in Bruges, the city Bruges. And I didn't know anything about it. When I watched, I was like, okay, that it kind of fits. I do love the fact that the mayor of Bruges, basically Brussels, If anybody is like is unaware of where Bruges is, it's near Brussels. It's a
Yeah.
different city. Um, the mayor of Bruges was like, I don't want anybody filming any movie here whatsoever because I don't need anybody saying this place is a shithole. That's what he said. However, Bruges did get a big boom of tourism after the movie came out,
Yeah.
despite the fact that he calls it a shithole.
Shithole.
Yeah. So, and they have that interaction with the hotel. Now, first of all, Bruges, it looks gorgeous. Anybody who's into like medieval, Gothic kind of architecture, that's the city to go to. It looks great. I haven't been there, but from the scenic shots that they have of the city, it just looks amazing for people who love that kind of architecture. I love it personally. I love it.
And you do have to love the juxtaposition between Ray and Ken, because Ray is furious with this entire prospect. Ken is actually, he falls in love with the city.
Yeah.
In fact, so many of Ray's condemnations we're going to cover, but I think probably one of his if I grew up on a farm was retarded, Bruges might impress me, but I didn't, so it doesn't.
Yeah, it's literally right there. Right there. It's basically it kind of starts his indignation really begins when they show up to the hotel. It's like, yeah, we've got just the one room. That's what they booked for you, and we're full for the holiday. That's why I knew it was Christmas time. The only way I would know it's Christmas time just by that. Otherwise, it could have been any time of the year. Well, basically around winter time.
Yes.
Yeah. To me, and this is after going into details of this, Martin McDonagh, who was the director and the screenplay writer, he said that Ken and Ray were basically his two sides while writing the script. The mere fact that it is in Bruges, pun intended, it's because he went to visit there randomly. He wanted to have a vacation, something different. He went to Bruges and was like, oh, this is a picturesque city. And he liked the museums and everything. But there was a point at night where he's like, I just want to go to the pub and get fucking drunk because, well, they're British. And he said, well, Ray and Ken are basically me because I'm very much a museum geek on one hand, but I'm also a drunken slut. His words.
Yep.
And I was like, perfect.
So what's really important about the clock tower scene there was when Ken is actually trying to pay. That's what Mike and Michelle is really great about, and that's why you should really see Banshees of setups and payoffs.
Yes,
because Ken's setup of trying to pay for the ticket with euros coins, but he had 4.90. Like, no, it's 5 euros. It's 5 euros. So he had to pay with a bill, and that's the reason why he still has his coins in his pocket at the end.
Yeah, there's tons of this clock tower has tons of little setups and payoffs. It's not just the coins that he has at the end. First of all, it's where he goes to confront Harry to keep him away from Ray.
To be fair, at that point in time, he thought that Ray had actually been on the train and gotten out.
Yeah, but he wanted like a secluded place.
True.
Him and Harry go to the place. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but the fact that the setup for that payoff at the end also includes Ray completely has zero tact and telling a bunch of fat Americans that they're fat Americans. And
so the one with that at the end, he was like, yeah, we had to close it down because one American had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no, you're not going up there. You are just the rudest man. And then,
Yeah.
and then Ken comes out and is like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. And this is another part of that whole setup, that whole scene at the start. When if you watch it for the very first time, you're like, this is sort of the thing turning on himself where you would expect rude Americans and like polite British people, and it kind of turns on its head where they would the British people, or one of them, is very rude, and the Americans are like, excuse me,
Which
I'm
is so odd is
sorry.
those aren't actually American actors either. Again, their accent gives it away.
No, I mean, even if they're not American actors,
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
but they're going off that point where I was like, are you? It like I said, it doesn't seem like an obvious setup. Not even the coins. Everything around that whole scene was a little bit confusing because it kind of gets a little bit too long, but it sets up these little mini things that get paid off right at the very end, and everything kind of makes sense with that whole tower scene, which is again very rather long scene at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And then this, which I love the most, is like, okay, you get a gay beer and I get a proper beer.
Hey, I'm sorry, but he's completely wrong. Belgium has some of the best beers in the world. So
And that's why I was like, I was in the UK, you were in the UK, we know all about it. I think Ken is getting the superior beer.
oh yes, he is.
For sure.
And what's so fantastic too is I saw Lef constantly promoted throughout this, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good one.
Yeah, Left Blonde is really good. Left Brown, not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Sorry. Well, any kind of like the Trappist, the doubles or triples they're fantastic.
Yeah, to be fair, like I said, it's like it's not your it's not like he's drinking Bud Light. Let's just say that, right?
Yes.
He's drinking a proper Belgian beer. It's pretty fucking good. Right. Let's
And well,
move.
we also have the setup there where they kind of allude to the fact that Ken doesn't know why they're there yet.
Yes. And to me, again, watching this for the very first time, I was like, yeah, he could have vanished. They mentioned the like a town called Croydon. I think we were close to it at some point. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, Croydon's like a hick farm town-ish village.
Because he actually does. Well, Ken does propose a good option. It's like, well, yeah, they could have just hidden us away if we needed a high and critical. Like, I'm thinking we're here for a job.
Yeah,
Like,
and
oh,
this
well,
is where
does make sense. Huh.
and this is where he said we're probably here for a job. This is my brain going, oh, okay, they're not keeping him away. And then we see the flashback, and it was like, oh, okay, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a hidden motive here. And that kind of, when I watched this for the very first time, that kind of sparked my interest. It's not just this boring, we send you off into like an exile thing. There's layers to it, and the layers keep on going because when Ken goes into the room, Ray's come. I think they're strolling together, and they kind of drift apart once Ray sees the filming session.
Chloe, yeah, where he sees. Oh no! I have to see this. They're filming a movie about midgets. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, dude. What's great too is the conversation where this is also where the first time that Ray brings up midgets being suicidal, which is again is not the kind of way you want to open up a conversation when starting a conversation with anyone to begin with, especially not when you're trying to chat up a lady.
Yeah.
And I like the line that he says, "I hope your midget doesn't kill himself."
Yeah.
It's like,
and
my God, man.
to be completely fair, she I don't know if she was attracted to his looks, but I bet you it was his wit.
I bet it was
Because it
that,
was
and
super
also
honest.
I think that this is also part of she's trying to roll him.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Because again, with Eric that we see later, like they would bring people back, tourists back to rob them. Like for them, seems like a pretty easy mark.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know. The way she looked at him, in terms of the act, first of all, is it Clement? I forgot her name. It's Clement
Clemence Poissy.
Poissy. By the way, way better job here than in fucking Harry Potter. Way better job.
Oh, what was she in Harry Potter? I don't even remember.
She was the French school, like French magic school that went to compete in the Goblet of Fire.
Le Hogwarts.
Hogwarts. Yeah. It's not Hogwarts, it's Le Hogwarts. No.
No, it's Le Warthog. That's what it is.
I don't remember the name of the school. I've read the book like 4 times and seen at least twice the movie, and I've no idea. The chat knows. The chat is all knowing.
They always know.
They will tell us. Anyway, she is so good in this movie. Her like smiles and the way she looks at him when she does gives it away on how much she's infatuated with him. Maybe not at this point. Maybe now at this point she's like looks at him as a mark.
There's kind of a reason for that.
Okay.
The two were romantically linked further. Wow.
Oh. So you're saying it was easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that goes out the window.
Sometimes there's method acting, and sometimes you don't need to act. That's all.
Sometimes. You know what? Let's do a quick stop, okay? Let's play our first game of the day. It is called Missing Marquee. Now, Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off, we display them in Oh My Feelings, and the chat will have to guess which movie this is. We'll say hello to the horror cat dad. Welcome. We'll ding this, we'll do this, and we will pull this out of our ass.
Is that just the Muppets movie?
It is the Muppets movie.
Oh, Beautiful Mind.
A Beautiful Mind. You guys are going to have a tough time keeping up today.
It's just Basic Instinct.
It is Basic Instinct. Oh, chat, help us.
Punch In. I'm trying to figure out who that actress is.
Who the actor is?
Yeah.
I don't remember who the actor is. Tell you the truth.
That's not, well, is it one of the summer blockbusters? It was not
One of them.
Deep Impact or Apocalypse?
It is Deep
Impact.
Impact, okay. Correct.
Oh no, I don't remember this film because I hated it. I saw it once and I completely forgot the name of the movie.
One of the last movies starring Sean
Connery. He gave up after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because he went, correct. Oh, this movie is such a bomb. I'm done.
I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm retiring. These people don't know how to do movies. This is, of course, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes. I do not know the name of it flat out. I think I purposely purged it from my mind.
It's not that bad.
Well, I know the reason why this film is so well known is because of the laser scene.
Yes, and that's why the laser scene is
prominent already in the poster.
Yeah. No takers. Well, we'll have to keep going because this is Entrapment. No, James Dosher. Entrapment is correct, sir.
Oh no!
This is a stupid movie that I had to see.
I know that Gerald Butler is a bondsman going after that character.
Yes.
I keep wanting to say The Breakup, but no,
It's
because
not The
Jennifer Aniston,
Breakup?
but it's not The Breakup. No, it's one of those late 2000 films that nope. I know the entire plot of the movie, but that's it.
Yeah. It's The
The
something.
Getaway?
Not The Getaway. No. The Getaway is Kristen Stewart, and it's definitely not about a
Yeah.
yeah. Getaway, you're my No, it's not Getaway. Oh, you guys don't know. This is The Bounty Hunter.
Oh, wow. Okay. That should.
You want me to punch in?
Why am I drawing a blank on this?
We did kind of cover this.
I know. Isn't that just the Two Towers?
It is not The Two Towers.
The Return of the King. It's Return of the King. Yeah, because no, that's before the Ghost Army.
It is not.
Oh, it's the Fellowship then.
It's The Fellowship.
Oh,
Because it's when they're on the thing. Never mind.
on the thing, going to the Matrix.
The Matrix, duh.
Oh no, it's Bogart
Chat.
too.
Chat. Yes.
It's Bogart.
Yes, the horror cat that it is The Fellowship. We're always going to have at least 20, 25
It's
seconds of delay.
Yeah, it's not Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
It is
It is
Treasure of the
Okay.
Sierra Madre.
It's the Untouchables.
It is The Untouchables. Correct, sir.
Wow,
very
I went
good.
through. Hey, I went through all the Lord of the Rings, the first trilogy. Finally got there.
What's so funny is it took you more time to discover the Fellowship of the Ring, faster to do the Treasure of Sierra Madre. It's
Yeah.
like how? But okay, cool,
Well,
guys.
Bogart's a great
guys,
actor, so
It is. Yeah. It is The Untouchables. Yes, the horror cat dad. It is. Yes. Like I said, there's always like a 25, 30 seconds. You don't think 30 seconds is a lot? It's a lot. Anyway, okay, let's keep going. I need to pull up the movie again because I wanted to touch upon another through line in this entire movie is the kids or children or that
with
sort of thing.
children, and also Marie as well, the innkeeper.
That's exactly the next thing because when Ray and Ken kind of split up, Ray does his thing. We have that whole scene with the film, and he gets the number of
Chloe.
Ken, however, kind of goes by and he sees Marie in the window, and that's the first time he kind of realizes, oh, she's pregnant. That's like, okay, I guess she's pregnant. It doesn't seem like a lot, but after you saw the flashback with the kid getting killed by accident, that kind of adds in that extra layer of, okay, there's something to do with kids, and that's through the entire movie. Every time there's a dramatic moment or there's a sad moment or there's imminent death moment, always with kids.
Yes. Or there's some kind of there's also, if you notice too, there's always a juxtaposition between someone who is vastly older and someone who is either a child or someone who is pregnant.
Yes.
So again, it's telling the two stories of phases of life included in their whole kind of the allegory to purgatory in this for both the characters.
Yeah. Now, sort of the second day, it starts off with a breakfast, right? By the way,
Was Marie had already given him the note, right?
think so.
Yes, when Ken returned, he got the note and he read the note.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And Marie's note at the bottom, no, I am not the secretary. I'm the co-owner with my husband.
Yeah. There.
Yeah, yeah. And I love when Ken gives Ray, I was like, Jesus, he does swear a lot.
Exactly. That's and to me, like I said, the movie kind of sways between this dark comedy kind of thing and a really serious drama.
Mhm.
And it really fluctuates from side to side. And when it goes to the dark comedy, that's who puts fucking every single like third thing and gets it. But it's a telegram. That's how you get a telegram. If you say fucking, it's
They take it verbatim.
the guy writes it down and it's fucking. So he gets the telegram, he reads it at night, and he gets pissed because Ray comes in a little later, and he fucks up his sleep. But in the morning, they meet up and they sort of have that discussion. Dude, we are here to do some sightseeing. We are laying low. He kind of
we have to make sure we have to be sure we're in the hotel tonight.
yeah.
But I've got a date. It's like, okay, fine, you can have your date, but today we're doing whatever I want.
Yeah. Which leads him to this, I have to say, the weirdest thing I ever seen in a church. I want to get to the specific spot because you only see it there. I got it. That is quite the imagery.
It's like a sepulcher. I mean,
It's
yeah.
Aren't you like supposed to because I'm Jewish, we don't have this. Do not light the candles for a soul that died in that place?
It can be, but it's also in remembrance. Especially since this is around the holiday time. This is a big thing.
Yeah, right. So I get that. I understand that. I know that from other movies, but I'm looking at the imagery that they use to have with the candles. It looks like it's like an altar to fucking Satan.
No, not really. That's just, you forget how macabre Christian iconography really is.
I mean, just the mere fact that you don't see it in this shot, but above this, there are three big crosses above it. Ooh, this is Meph with the timely coffee. Thank you, dear. Good night.
Which again, you have to. This is why, Meph, whenever I bring up 40K, like, if you ever want to realize where the inspiration from the classic Warhammer and 40K stuff came from, all you have to look at is just go to old medieval churches and you go, oh, I get it.
I like old medieval churches. I've been through many, but in Italy, you don't see any fucking skulls near crosses.
Yeah. You're
You're
just not going to the cool churches.
Okay. Touche. Right after this, we get to see the flashback of Ray.
Yeah, we do have, first we have just that quick shot beforehand of Ray waving to Jimmy
Yes.
in the park, and then him also having his second breakdown about the kid, but we don't know why he's upset about when he sees children until then we see the flashback.
Yeah, because what's the name of the dwarf? I don't remember.
Jordan Princess.
Jordan Princess. Anyway, he sees him and he's like waving at him, like you mentioned, and it's like, motherfucker. Fine. He goes away and then he sees like this family and children, and that kind of triggers the whole thing.
Like short arse.
Yeah. And we go to the flashback and it starts off as like sort of like a confession, but then it's like immediately goes into a fucking hit where he drills the priest, and then we see he killed. And that's, by the way, when you see that imagery, you're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
In a movie, they went on a ledge with the MPAA with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really? I think it's R, right? It's not an NC-17.
No.
Right, it's an R. So it's
Mhm.
like, oh, oof. So I won't put the risky one. I'll put in this because just before.
Yeah. Oh, and just as an aside too, Syrian Hines, who's a fantastic actor, by the way.
Yes.
If you've ever seen Rome, he plays Julius Caesar in Rome. Oh
Yes.
god,
And
such a good series.
he's in other things,
Yeah.
in other good things. I don't remember which ones, but he's one of those character actors that have a lot of presence.
He was the king of the north in the original couple of seasons of Game of Thrones.
He's
Of the
like
Wild.
I was about to say, he was never a lead actor in anything I've seen. Always like a character actor. He could be like a supporting actor or a side character, but he's always like this powerful presence. Pretty good actor. And this is where Ken mentions Ken kind of comes out of the church and Ray's just sitting there. And Ray's contemplating on why they're there. We mentioned this before, and this is where Ken kind of brings up, didn't you ever think it's like maybe we're going on a job?
No, that was mentioned at the pub.
Really?
Yeah. That was mentioned at the pub.
think
Because they show the execution scene, and then right after that they go to the museum scene. Where they're walking around the museum, and actually that's what's interesting is the fact that Ray mentions the only one that he really liked was Borch's The Last Judgment.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I've moved
Then
it.
they have the conversation about the afterlife, and they're like,
that
"Well, do you
before.
believe in any of it?" And Ken's like, "No, I don't."
Yeah, I can't really show too much, but yes.
Yeah. And then Ken actually gives an explanation too. It was like after this, they have the conversation about their own like individual crimes, and Ken mentions the fact like, I only regret hurting one person, and I thought he was kind of an innocent man, but he came at me, and he was just trying to protect his brother. He came with a bottle, and they have that line. Had to laugh because it's again this film drops in and out of being a serious drama and a black comedy so quick. It's like, what's a 50-year-old lollipop man doing karate?
Yeah, they went off on a tangent, and I was like, I was trying to follow it again, and I'm like, what is this conversation? And this is only, I think, Martin McDonagh put this conversation here, kind of being inspired by Pulp Fiction. I don't know. It's just my kind of way of thinking that he put this scene here to sort of break the tension as they're talking about murders. They're talking about like people they killed.
So kind of in a mirroring the conversation between
Jules and Vern. No. Vincent Vega, Jules and Vincent in that car where they're basically talking about like weed and this and that and the other. Before they go into the apartment, they're talking about throwing a guy off the balcony and getting.
Oh, with Tony Rakahara got thrown off a third-story building after he massaged her feet. Yeah,
massaged her feet. Exactly.
I've seen Pulp Fiction way too many times. You know that.
Sort of. To me, that's the sort of inspiration I was going to break the monotony, but they're doing it in a very, we'll call it a very British way. Sort of, who knows what a lollipop man is? Makes sense. It's a guy with like chicken leg feet, which I would have thought it's like a guy with like really thin feet. It's like, how would a guy like that have karate? It was like, that's fucking hilarious. That is so
it was
fucking
more
hilarious.
referring to the fact that the man who sold sweets.
Oh, well, I didn't go there, but
6-1. I mean, either one works, but
But the only thing to me, well, not the only thing, but one of the things to me is the fact that Ray is like, yeah, the man's had a broken bottle. It's a self-defense. And then he sits around in a restaurant.
Well, that's what the bottle defense comes up later, because
Yeah.
it's because it's Ray obviously feels guilt over it, but Ken is reassuring him that that everything what happened was really just an accident, because he again hasn't received the call yet, so he doesn't know what he's going to have to do. But then they have the whole bit with Chloe and the date, and then what's so odd is too, at the beginning of it, given the fact that I still believe that this is when Chloe was under the guise that she was going to roll him and
Yes. Yes.
rob him. So that's why they both just tell each other the truth right off the bat, but they don't know is like who's going to blink first, kind of a thing.
Yeah, 'cause it's sort of in a weird way. That's where the sort of that dark comedy comes from, where he's not pretending to be anything else. He's just telling the truth, because the truth is so absurd, nobody would believe it.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. And she's like looking at him, she's smiling, and she's like, nah, he's kidding me. I'll do the same thing. It's like, yeah, I'm a drug dealer. I was there to sell drugs and shit. And he only realizes after he hurts the boyfriend. And when they leave, he basically robs her of her drugs. It's like, oh, she was telling the truth. All right.
Well,
Drugs away.
why would ketamine? What's ketamine? It's horse tranquilizers. Why would you give horse tranquilizers to a dwarf?
It's those little moments that made it hilarious, and you were like, I want to dive deep into the black morass of this guy who just shot a kid for no goddamn reason, but I can't, because these bits are fucking funny.
Yeah. Well, what's great too is the line. Because it's great because it's the first time a film has been made in Bruges. So of course it has. It's a shithole.
Which, to me it was like, oh, this movie is meta in a way, and I was like, okay.
And what's great too is the fact that what are you going to do next? Tell me a joke about Belgians, and they have that really terrible joke that he says. If you notice, if you're paying attention to the score, because Mike Machine does this several times, especially in this film, and also really heavily in Banshees, where the score tells a story in itself. When he delivers the punchline, you notice the pianist misses 2 notes.
Yeah, sort of like what each.
It's as if the joke fell flat. Like,
yes, I did notice that, but I think astute movie watchers would notice that, but it's a lot of the score in the movie. It's pretty much somber throughout, but there are moments where you can feel the let's say you see the tension rising in the movie itself, and also in the music backing it up. It's not intrusive and in your ear, but it's in the background, kind of making your hairs at the back of your neck kind of tingle up a little bit. Funny that you mentioned that. I had that feeling today while I was watching this. So the bottle thing. So the guy next to him was annoyed because Chloe was blowing smoke in his face while he was eating, and his girlfriend. And he mentions my girlfriend.
yeah.
And I wanted to smack him. So he gets
It's like, what about Vietnam? What does that have to do with anything?
And then she comes in at him with
he gets up and just clocks the
clocks
Canadian, and then she grabs a bottle and goes like, oh no, a bottle.
Yeah. And he clocks her too, and he just leaves. And you would think somebody would call the police. Well, someone did call the police. They were working at such a big delay. It is unreal. But yeah, it was, again, that that's a part of that dark comedy. That whole restaurant bit was a dark comedy within itself.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, we get the call, and we mentioned this as Ken kind of plays off as if Ray is there while he's talking to Harry. Now, let's talk about Harry. Harry is, I don't know what the direction was with the director, or what did he give Ralph Fiennes any direction about what kind of accent to use or not. But to me, Harry is a character plopped out of a Guy Ritchie movie.
Oh, 100%.
It's sort of, it's completely, they just took a character from a Guy Ritchie mobster movie. Take your pick, Smoking Barrels or Snatch or The Gentleman, which came after this, but who cares?
Well, I'm thinking too. What really I was thinking of, because the film came out right after this, was Rock and Rolla. With the amount of obscenities that are in Rock and Rolla, you go, okay, I could see him being in that movie.
Yeah, so it's literally a crime boss taken from a Guy Ritchie movie, talking in that Cockney. It's not a Cockney accent. It's a Eastern London. It's a London accent. One of them. There's a few. A very particular one, very particular way of pronouncing words and everything, and it comes to fruition later on. We're going to discuss it. That conversation that him and Ken have.
I have the diatribe down too, and we're going to go through that.
We're going to go through that soon. But that whole spiel that Ken does, you said it's a one take. Yeah. I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, yeah, there's not a lot of cuts there. So he goes out, pretends to go out and search for something, and comes back, and then they have that sort of a ominous thing where everything kind of gets revealed. That
it's like, you're going to have to go see Yuri and get a piece and figure it out. Like, do I have to spell it out for you?
Yeah. And then he spells it out to him. It's like, call me when he's dead. And this kind of connects to something that is very much Ken, because Ken is the more experienced assassin or contract killer, and Ray is not. And then we learn that Ray's first job was that priest.
The priest, yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay. And to me, this is where, if you remember, the kind of one of the last scenes in Goodfellas was Ray sitting across from Robert De Niro's character, and he's like, at this, he talked about the job in Florida, and then,
I knew if I went down there, I wouldn't come back
to Florida.
Yeah,
and Ray wasn't experienced enough to know that he's not coming back from Bruges because it's out.
Well, to be fair, Ken didn't know exactly what the whole concept was.
Yeah, I know. But Harry filled in the role of Robert De Niro, and Ray was filling in for Ray, but not really was astute enough because he wasn't in the game enough as Ray. All right. Like I said, one of the finest roles that Ralph Fiennes did, to be honest.
Which, oddly enough,
so off kilter with that.
In the past 2 months, we've done 2 roles of Ray Fiennes that have been fantastic
and very, very different. Now, we mentioned Harry Potter. This movie has tons of connections to Harry Potter, but not in the way you think, because Clemence Posey was from Harry Potter. By the way, same Goblet of Fire had Moody, which is Brendan Gleeson. Same movie had the first resurrection, and the first time we see Voldemort, Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
I love that connection. And this is 2008, so it came in two years, maybe 3 years after Goblet of Fire, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can check.
No, I think, wasn't Goblet of Fire 2001?
I can check.
because I was still working at the movie theater back then when I was in high school. So yeah, it was 2001.
No, 2005. Like I said, 3 years.
Goblet of Fire was really that?
Yep.
I'm misremembering then. Yeah.
Philosopher's Stone was
Philosopher's Stone. Okay, yeah, that's why I thought it was the first film. That's why. Okay.
No. Goblet of
No,
Fire
my
was
mistake.
number
My
4.
mistake.
Goblet of
Again,
Fire.
I'm not a history. I'm sorry, I'm not a Harry Potter buff. So it's like
I'm not a Harry Potter, not in the movies, but yeah, it's they came in almost every year, so every year plus a little bit,
Gotcha.
I think. Gleeson was also Gleeson, like I said, Gleeson, Ralph Fiennes, and Clemence Posey. Anyway, they have that little talk. We now kind of know what's going on. We're basically not even halfway through the movie, and now us as viewers have that tension. And
Yep.
what is that tension? Will Ken actually shoot Ray? Because it doesn't seem like he's going to do it. But first, we have that whole interaction at Chloe's place where they're trying to, they're getting hot and heavy. And then the boyfriend comes in. He shoots a blank in his fucking face.
which oddly enough, a blank at that range could kill someone. And it has before in the past.
Yes. In a movie we're going to cover this year, I think, maybe.
Well, actually, no. The crow was an accidental live round that got in the chamber.
Yeah.
No, but there was another fake scene where an actor put a fake gun to his head with a blank in it, and like that, but it pushed enough of the skull matter into his brain and instantly killed him.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Just don't fuck around with guns, people. How about that? It's a good life lesson overall.
We're looking at you, Baldwin. Please be careful.
Yes. So we do have from there. We already talked about Ray finding the drugs and taking the drugs. Then Ken sitting at the bar where he meets Jimmy for the first time because he had only heard about the dwarf.
And this kind of starts off this whole
You have a very beautiful girlfriend. She's a prostitute. Well, you picked up a very lovely prostitute.
and this is Ken going into a fuck it mode, as in, you know what? I was being reserved and not drinking too much and like trying to keep Ray not getting smashed every night. But I took a big pill of fuck it all and fuck it all.
Yep.
He is being, and the guy getting in beer is like, oh, 4th beer in 20 minutes. And all I was thinking was, ha, 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 ha. You're kidding me, right? He's British. He's supposed to be fucking English, but you've messed with the wrong kind of British. He's Irish.
Yeah. So
fuck.
for 20 minutes. I mean, come on. We've been to PreachCon. That's baby numbers.
That's serious baby numbers. And these are not like pints and stuff. These are like, those glasses are 330 mils. These are your regular size soda can or beer.
Should be 12 ounces for us Yanks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's less than a pint. He can knock out 10 of these and maybe start to.
Well, the only thing would be the fact that they're Belgian beers, so they're typically twice of what a typical ABV is for a usual lager.
And you know what? Even if the percentage is the same, they sometimes hit you harder because they're heavier. But yeah, let's just say this. They can drink a lot of beer without being drunk. We've seen it in real life, so I believe it. We'll just cut to
all I have to say is Sandman Slims. That's all you. That's all we need to say.
Paul, I know you're not watching, but we love you.
Yep.
We know you. And we love you. By the way, he sometimes watches the show. Let's jump to the drug party.
Well, I do have to say, I think one of my favorite setups of the entire movie has to be when Ray comes back. He goes, well, I had 5 grams of cocaine. I got 1 gram in me now. My heart's racing.
Yeah.
And he goes to talk to him. It's like, why didn't you say hi to me earlier? It's like, I'm sorry, man. I was on ketamine. It's like, this is a prostitute. It's like,
Yeah.
because says like, I'm from Amsterdam. Oh, the only thing that I know from Amsterdam are prostitutes. He goes, yeah, I know. I could get a better price for here.
Yeah.
It's just, you twos are weird. You want to go do some cocaine?
It's like, sure. And then we get to the party, and the party is so fucking crazy because they get coked up to the gills. And Jason, right? Jason is like, oh, the next, you know what the next
Jimmy's talking about Helter Skelter.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And he's like, you know what the next war is? It's a race war. It's the whites against the blacks. So,
and it was before that he was talking to him about, was like, so do you ever feel suicidal? I know a lot of yous killed themselves. It's like, what is going on here?
What's wrong with you? And Ray's like, the first time he hears him talk about the race war, is like, fuck it, I'm with the blacks. It's like, what the fuck?
Because he keeps mentioning different races. It's like, oh, well, if they got the Vietnamese, I'm definitely with them.
Yeah. And Ken's like, I was married to a black woman, so you know what side am I on? And Ray's like, so what side are you on? Like,
no, because Jimmy S is like, well, I guess you just have to just go by your own moral compass then.
And in the meantime, there's like a definitely white prostitute and a black prostitute that joined them at some point.
Yeah, it's like,
and they're saying nothing.
Nothing.
They're saying it's like, oh, we don't care. We just got paid. We have some coke. We don't give a fuck. You can keep talking. And it's such a surreal kind of conversation at this whole thing. It's like, oh.
It's so weird. And he says, like, what does Ken say when he leaves? He goes, I cannot believe this part. 2 minty dwarfs, two minty prostitutes, a racist dwarf, and my drugged up friend. And as they get to leave, he grabs the cocaine. The only thing I was thinking of, Meth, was that, like, I wanted him to say it out loud just because I was thinking of Austin Powers the whole time. I wanted him to go, judo chop!
Yeah. And he literally judo chops him. And that's fucking hilarious. That is so hilarious. Oh. Like I said, you said it, I said it. The jump from like serious hardcore drama to like filth and dark comedy is just, you're like, what? Where is it going? If you don't know where it's going, you're like, where is this movie going? Why am I here? Why can't I stop this movie? Why I can't stop this movie at all? Like, I can't put pause on it. I have to keep watching.
Yeah, because you don't know exactly. Like, if I miss 15 seconds, it might just do a dramatic turn again. No, but or Cat Dad, yes. Back off, Shorty, at the end when he walks off with the cocaine. Short arse.
And then, of course, the next morning, Ken knew he had an early appointment. And to me, like I mentioned, Harry as a character from a Guy Ritchie movie, the Russian guy who sells
Yuri,
Yuri is like, is it like Boris the Blade?
Yeah, I know.
Is this gonna come into this play?
I love when he brings it up later. Did Yuri talk to you about the alcoves too? Was he always talking about the fucking alcoves?
This like, to me, it was like, I know where you got your inspiration from, but this is ridiculous. Why is this Russian not in Russia selling fucking guns? Yeah. Why are all the Russians are the gun sellers? Of course, it's because of where the guy wrote the thing, where his inspiration's from. Just like Guy Ritchie. It's like, yep. Okay. And to me, it was a little bit too much on the nose, but yes. Yuri the gun seller. And you think if it's just the one time he sells him the gun, it's fine. But no, it happens again
Again,
with Harry.
yeah.
And then we get to this scene, and this is like we said, the comedy's over. It's time for serious drama. So he goes to Yuri, and Yuri tells him where to off motherfuckers, basically in the alcoves.
This is like alcoves. Oh, nooks and crannies. Oh, I like that. Nooks and crannies.
Yeah. And then it tilts towards the serious, sad, like emotional, stressful moment where Ray's sitting in a playground of all things and is like, I'm just gonna end this now because I can't live with me killing a kid.
Yep.
And Ken sneaking behind him with a fucking silencer. To get to this moment, I could show this. He sneaks up behind him with a silencer, but then when he sees this gun, he's like, no, stop. And this is where the audience is confused. It was like, whoa, wait a minute. Ken is the professional one. Ray is the off the kilter first guy, did a mistake kind of hitman. And Ken is the one that is going off script?
Yeah. Which is so odd because Harry brings it up later. It's like, why didn't you just let him do it? That solves all of our problems.
Yeah. And to me, this is the moment where Ken, the cool, calm, collective guy, kind of succumb to his emotions of basically friendship. He's the guy. Harry said it that he was the guy who brought Ray in to this business. So there was already a pre-connection there, because you brought him to the business. If he's not dead, you know what the consequences are.
Yeah.
It's basically you're dead. And we're fully aware of it. Ken is fully aware of it. And when he lets Ray go, he's like, Ray, you need to get out of this business and you need to disappear. And it's like, I can't go back to England. No, you can't go back to England. They'll fucking
he said lay low for at least 7 years. 7 years is not a long time.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And this is what kind of didn't fit for me. It's like, no, you need to like find like somewhere and hide for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm. And what's odd too is there's the whole setup too where they have the conversation and the reveal to Ray, which Ray's just absolute, almost just furious response to the fact that Harry thought that him taking him to Bruges would be a good send-off for him.
Yeah.
As a final gift.
Yeah. And the only reason why Harry sent Ray there, or Ray and Ken there, is like, yeah, back when I was a kid.
I went there and I remember liking it a lot.
Yeah. And I was, yeah, but not everybody is like you, but that's Harry's world. And it even mentions it later to Ken. Was like, yeah, I'm going to take my children, like I'm going to bring my children here just because it's so beautiful. It's like, why haven't you yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it is what it is. But there is this part where he just breaks down.
Yeah.
He just breaks down. And it's after Ken kind of decided he needed to disappear. And he's just, dude, you need to go. Otherwise you'll be dead. And Ray knows that if Ken lets him go, then Ken's going to take it. And Ken is like, don't worry about it. I'm good. We're fine.
They do have a small little argument again, because even in between, again, this film constantly has a juxtaposition between very dark comedy and very serious drama. Which even then they have an argument between themselves. Like, well, what you were gonna kill me? I can't kill myself. What? Why does that not work?
This moment here is where they have that conversation where Ray kind of realizes what's at stake here. This is
At the end, yeah.
where he boards on the train, and what what you would expect at this moment is like, okay, Ray's gonna go away, and Ken is gonna get the hit, and that would probably be the end of the movie because the jig is up. We know what the consequences are. The movie kind of, the script or the dialogue kind of laid out, okay, this is what is going on, and then it flips on its head. And this is why this movie is not your typical movie. It's a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah.
First, it's Ray, right? Ray's sitting down, looking at the scenery, right?
Oh, well, wait. I want to go first back to, this is before that Ken actually tells Harry
Yeah, you want
in a
to go over
message
it? Okay.
about that, because this is before Ray gets stopped.
Yeah, I know.
So
I wanted to move a little bit forward, but okay.
no. The only thing that's really great about that is because they just Ralph Fiennes is just chewing scenery in this, and it's fantastic. When he's just banging the phone, his wife comes in, is like, "It's an inanimate. You're a fucking inanimate object."
I think that's one of the quotable lines, right, from this movie.
And even at the end, he's like, "I'm sorry, I did not mean to call you an inanimate object."
Yeah, because he let me explain. He destroys the phone. His wife comes in, and she tells him, Harry, what are you being upset about? It's just an inanimate object. And the retort is, you're an inanimate object, being sort of cross with her. And then he needs to go to Bruges. So he goes out, he hugs his children because it's Christmas and daddy's going to go away in Christmas.
Well, see, this would be so much different had he actually heeded his wife's actual his wife's notification and everything, and her concern. Because had he had taken the boys with him, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have gone down this way.
Yeah, and when she said the boys, she means his bodyguards, not his actual boys.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the only reason why he didn't do that was because of the close relationship he had with Ken. It's like, I have to do this personally.
Yeah. And we're going to get to that conversation that they have in the restaurant. But like I said, the movie kind of it shuffles the cards for us as audience, where there's a guy who addresses Ray with his name or whatever, and he kind of gets up and he looks towards the aisle, and it's the Canadian he punched and my girlfriend.
It's like, are you an Irishman? Yes. And it gives him that really, really, really bad fake name. Yeah. He was like, did you punch the Canadian? What are you at? Did I punch the Canadian?
And he looks down the aisle, and that's
the motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, fine, you got me, fine. And it's like, oh shit, Ray's been caught. He stays in fucking Belgium. He's not going to like Amsterdam, wherever they want. They didn't mention where where he's going, right?
No, they never mention where the train's actually going.
Yeah, so that Ken doesn't know where Ray is going, even if you beat it out of him, because he knew it would have come to that. It's like, okay, you got me.
What's interesting is a setup that's a little bit later, that the setup for what happens later is when Chloe bails him out. Also, like, again, the sequences of very interesting events, because if Chloe hadn't bailed him out, if he would have remained in jail, Ken would have gotten shot, right?
Yes.
Still, from what we know, how everything goes. If it were to follow that way, nobody would have known that Ray was back in town. Ray would have then left again, and everybody would have ended. That's how the movie would have ended.
Yes, but this is, like I said, this is where the guy, the director, the screenwriter wrote this elaborate way of not everything is cut and clean.
Yeah, it's a confluence of
Everything is
I know.
muddied. The water is completely muddied and anything can happen. And when anything can happen, it's much more interesting, compelling, and you're looking at the screen. It was like, I want to know what's going on. I want to know how everything unfolds. And Harry, of course, goes to Yuri to get a gun because Boris the Blade always has a gun. And he meets Chloe's boyfriend, and now everything gets everything is completely muddied because Harry mentions Ray and mentions the fact that he's trying to kill him. And later on, when the boyfriend kind of sees Ray kissing Chloe, he goes and tattletales to Harry, and that kind of spurs everything on.
Yeah. I just say what's interesting too. Do an Uzi. No, do it look like I'm in South Central and I want to shoot a whole bunch of kids in a drive by? It's like, ooh, that's rough. It's like I want a normal gun for a normal person.
Yeah.
And
all right.
Harry's entire telling Eric, it was like, no, wait, so he took his gun away from you, then shot you in the face with the blank. It sounds like this was your fault.
Yes. The whole time was like, yeah, it is your fault, you bitch.
Yeah.
He calls him a poof.
Yes.
It's a very derogatory term. For
yes.
a poof. If you know, you know.
Yes.
Right. Let's do a quick stop because we're basically 5 scenes before the ending. We'll play a very short game of Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take 2 movies, pit them together and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other. 2 movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? And we will do this: Wild Wild West or The Time Machine.
Oh my God, both these films are bad.
Yep, that's why I chose them. Chat participation is most welcome. Give us your worst or best.
I have to go with The Time Machine just because they should have actually put the giant mechanical spider in the Superman movie what they were going to.
It's so strange because both of these movies have villains played by really strong British actors.
Mm-hmm.
One is Kenneth Branagh, the other one's Jeremy Irons. And the more grounded of the two is Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
Even though he's playing a literal
mustache twirling victim. Mustache twirling victim who ties a victim to railroad tracks.
Yes. I'm gonna go with Wild Wild West because Will Smith in a dress. I don't know. The funnier is the Wild Wild West one. The Time Machine, I just didn't like it at all. Wild Wild West is stupid, but at least it's the good kind of stupid. I don't know. It has fucking her in it, so. I mean, if you compare Samantha Mamba to
Salma
Hayek, you know who wins.
Yeah. Duh.
So that's gonna give it away.
Fine.
A Few Good Men or American Hustle. Ooh.
Okay. While I do believe A Few Good Men is the better film, I would rather watch American Hustle.
Interesting.
There's a reason why. I love heist films. Heist and con men movies, they're my jam. So that's why I would prefer to watch American Hustle if it's, again, our criteria sitting down and just watching it for fun. American Hustle.
I would still watch A Few Good Men. I do like American Hustle. I do love my heist films, and this one's pretty good one, but I would watch A Few Good Men. It's just a great film, and we kind of discussed, maybe not, maybe I discussed it with myself. I don't remember, about doing a Tom Cruise month. Did we?
Yeah, we did.
discuss it? And this was one of my top 4 to do. You know what? You gave me Wild Wild West. I'll give you American Hustle. But my pick is A Few Good Men.
Okay.
Chat, you're the arbiter. Just throw your thing. Fantastic Mr. Knox or 30 Days
Mr.
of
Knox?
Mr. Fox, sorry. Did I say Fantastic Mr. Knox? Oh, I know of a guy like on YouTube chats who's got a moniker Fantastic Mr. Knox.
Oh, because all I was thinking of was Mickey Knox. I'm like, why are you talking about Natural Born Killers all of a sudden?
No. Fantastic Mr. Fox or 30 Days of Night.
Okay. Given the fact that I'm also really big into horror, I actually thought 30 Days of Night was a very interesting take on the vampire genre.
Okay.
I think it's an actually more interesting film than it's given credit. The Fantastic Mr. Fox, I found it kind of boring.
Now, I've seen Fantastic Mr. Fox. I have not seen 30 Days of Night, but I would pick 30 Days of Night any day.
Fair enough.
As you said, boring. Species or Castaway?
Same thing.
What do you mean? Because you like horror, so you're going to pick Species because Castaway is boring?
Yes.
I'm going to pick Species because Fantastic Mr. Knockers. No, it's the more compelling film to me. The Negotiator, which I absolutely love, and I have not seen anyone who has actually seen this movie, or Man on Fire, which is a great Denzel Washington.
That's a great Japanese poster for Man on Fire. Man on Fire. I think Man on Fire is quintessentially one of Denzel Washington's best films.
I agree, even though I absolutely love The Negotiator.
That's a great film too.
Yeah, it's a great film. Last one, Predators or West Side Story. Wow, could be any more different.
Okay.
Is Predators the one with
It's the one with they're on the planet. It's Adrian Brody's.
It's the Adrian Brody one. It's with what's her face? Olivia Munn, right? Olivia Munn is in this.
No. That's the new Predator movie.
Okay.
That's where they're actually on the planet, the Hunter planet, where they bring in all the special ops. Danny Trejo's in it.
Yeah.
So is
see, this
Topher Grace, the kid from that '70s show. He's a doctor in it.
Okay. Predators or West Side Story?
I know the story of West Side Story way too well. All they do is basically just rip off Romeo and Juliet. So it's a hard pass on West Side Story. And also, I'm not a big fan of musicals. I know you aren't either. Predators is actually a pretty interesting watch. It's actually kind of fun.
Every time I hear Tom talk about the Predator sequels, Predators with Adrian Brody comes up as the better one of these extra Predator versus Alien kind of mix. This is not the Predator versus Alien, but it's one of those sequels that have, gone a little bit too far with it, a little bit too off kilter. I would pick Predators for the popcorn, just popcorn stuff, because Saturday evening, Friday evening, I would not. First of all, I would never put West Side Story ever
on. Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Musical. I've seen it twice in my life, and it's once too many. Regardless of the story and everything, it's a fucking musical. I mean, let's call it this. I'm serious. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the one from 1971, with Gene Wilder is a musical, but
Technically,
not a typical musical.
Yeah.
Because in a musical, the song is supposed to progress the story. In Willy Wonka, it doesn't progress the story. It's just it's a stop, and then we're moving on.
which I think that's a good distinction between the two there, because the actual Tim Burton version utilized the songs to tell more of the story, as in a classical musical would,
Yeah,
than the Gene Wilder version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I completely agree. The Gene Wilder version was there. It wasn't your typical musical. It was your typical 1971 movie for kids.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
For kids,
yeah,
where a musical, it's the whole point is to get to the songs to progress the story.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm jumping straight to this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's between Ken and I want to get a good. Yes, how about this? We'll use this. All right, talk to me, Goose.
Okay, so again, the beginning of it, they have the entire setup where Ken tells him exactly, like, he doesn't know where Ray's going at all. As if he could be in any, it's like, what millions of towns in Central Europe. Don't know, have no idea. And then the entire setup where he tells him that he was thinking about killing himself, and he says, "Well, well, come on, everyone's suicidal. I'm suicidal. You're suicidal. Everyone's fucking suicidal."
And not only that, he tells him, "Look, you have to understand." And Harry tells this: "You have to understand there are consequences for killing a kid. If I would have
Because
shot a kid,
I
I
would have
would
just
commit
off myself right
suicide
there.
too."
Yeah, I would have off myself right there. It's like, and you let him go. You could have solved all the problems there. he goes, I let him go because he has the capacity to become something better.
Yeah.
You have the capacity only to become worse. I mean, no disrespect, but you're a cunt.
Yes.
You've always been a cunt. No, sorry, you're a cunt now. You've always been a cunt, and the only thing that's going to change is that you're going to become an even bigger cunt.
No, and he literally says, "Well, like you and your cunt kids."
It's like, you take that back about my kids.
And Ken is like, "Okay, I take that back about your children." And this is again that through line of, well, we're not bringing children into this. This is a men's world, or this is an adult world. Let's call it that. It's an adult world. The children, you have to put them away in the side, because if you hurt them or do anything to them, you need to die. Sort of again, a moral code, I would say, and we see everybody's moral code. It's the same thing. Harry's moral code and Ken's moral code when it comes to children is basically the same, and so is Ray's apparently, because we talked about the fact that a Bruges is purgatory for both Ken and Ray.
Yeah.
But Ray is at the moment where he really doesn't know where he belongs, because he feels the remorse about the kid. He really does feel the remorse about the kid. And when Harry has the same sort of conundrum, he doesn't have, any qualms about it.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to this.
We'll get to that. But
so we have this juxtaposed with they also bring up too in their conversations, like, did you already talk about the alcoves again? I don't know. He's a weird guy. I think he does yoga or something.
It literally does that jump again from serious drama into like this fucking dark comedy shit.
Where kids are like, where their two friends is talking about old times and joking.
Yeah.
But then we have that juxtaposed with everything that happens with Ray getting bailed out by Chloe. there is that whole conversation where Jimmy walks up to them and he's wearing the schoolboy uniform. He's like, "It would be better if you weren't laughing in my fucking face."
Yeah. and you gotta laugh. It's so fucking off kilter.
The whole thing too is what's great is the explanation of the film they're shooting, and he goes, "This would have been a great film. Shame it was in Belgium." First off, then he gives the whole explanation of, oh yeah, it's supposed to be kind of an allegory of Bosch again, which brings it back to the painting, and that's why at the end you see all the people in the costumes that are reminiscent of the Last Judgment.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes in with flashes because Ray is about to die, and he sees flashes of those characters.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh shit, I'm in the painting." Basically, so we see Ray kissing Chloe. Her boyfriend kind of walks through. He goes to Harry. He knows what.
We do have that one little bit before in front of the bell/clock tower where the guard pokes him. We are closed, British man.
As like, here, have 100, and he throws it in his fucking face.
And then starts poking him. It's like,
and Ken is like, "Oh no, that guy's done fucked up now."
It wasn't. I think it was Ken who goes to go pick up the chain and move it. Was like, I already know what's going to happen.
I know exactly what's gonna happen, and it happens. And of course, Harry takes Ken up to the tower,
and they have that conversation between each other where Ken puts his gun down and he flats out tell him, "Listen, I know what you have to do," and he's saying, "Well, pick up your gun. Pick up your gun." Like, no, I know whatever happens, I know the debt that I owe you, I cannot repay. So you have to do what you have to do.
And we kind of skipped over the fact that Ken leaves this note for Marie.
His last will and testament.
Before he goes to that dinner with Harry, because he knows why Harry's there. It's kind of given. We understand, like, as an adults, he replaced his life with Ray's life, so he's ready. As soon as I saw that letter put down, I was like, okay, Ken is ready to die. He doesn't want to exchange too many niceties. He's just ready to die. And this is exactly it. He takes out his gun, puts it aside, and Harry wants him to have the gun back. It's like, what? Why? Do you think you're going to kill him at self-defense or something?
No, it's the code. Because he knows that, well, this is my friend. And the fact that if he's armed and he's trying to shoot me, I can at least try to justify it. But now I can't justify killing my friend. I can't do it.
So he shoots him in the leg.
He's like, oh, you fucking shot. He's like, well, I'm not going to let you get away with calling me a cunt.
And again, it just goes all the way to dark comedy. As soon as the boyfriend comes in, it's like, yeah, I've seen Ray. He's like, he's there. It's like,
yeah. Then it gets serious again, and he shoots him right in the neck.
And as soon as Harry kind of realizes, yeah, it's time to kill you. Like, he just puts one in his neck and he just goes after Ray. And the only way to sort of alert Ray is we mentioned this is again that payoff again with the change where the guy in that bell tower didn't want to accept that change because it was $4.90 and you have to pay €5, and Ken uses to drop it from the sky, and it alerts Ray because the crowd's got looking at it. And then
the reason why he actually
body goes down.
Well, that's the reason why he dropped the coins, was to warn people below, because he was going to jump, so he didn't want to hurt anyone else.
And I don't know how he didn't survive, but I don't know how he managed to be shot in the fucking leg and then shot in the neck, and then dropped out of a tower and still talk.
All I'm thinking is, the first time I saw this, I was just thinking of Fight Club, the film version, not the book version.
Why?
After the narrator shoots himself in the mouth, he goes, "Can I get some gauze?" And the guy gets another, like, "One tough motherfucker."
Well, Ken is a tough motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, grab my gun. He didn't. He's like, I'll grab that gun. And he takes out the gun and it's all in fucking pieces. Like, what would I do with this? And he asks him, where is my gun? Because we see Ken leaving Ray's gun in the dresser.
Which was technically Eric's gun.
Yes. But after he and then he leaves that letter to Marie thinking, well, nobody's going to find this gun here until Marie kind of
it's too late.
arranges everything.
It's already done. Yeah.
And of course it comes in handy for Ray, because Ray goes out, tries to get the gun. Harry's after him. But Ray also knows that Marie's pregnant, right? At this point. And he doesn't want innocent people to get shot for him, because he knows he's fucked up. It's like, Harry, I'm going to just go to somewhere else. You can come and chase me, right? You can shoot me from that sort of place. And it's going to be, I don't want you to shoot me here while innocent people are in the way.
It's like, we don't put this pregnant woman. Yeah. Well, what's interesting too is that there's again that juxtaposition between a very serious chase scene where your protagonist, and Ray, for lack of a better term, is being chased by the antagonist who's trying to murder him, but they have that entire bit of what we're like, of what you mean, left or right? Right. On a count of three. Which three?
Exactly. It's sort of
Dude,
like,
even Marie is like, Jesus Christ.
like, where do I go? My left or your left? It's that sort of a question, right? And it literally puts me back at Lethal Weapon. I was like, oh my God, why is it here in this movie at this particular moment? Why did you have to go into that comedy? Because it's a thrill ride. It's so low lows and high highs. And the high highs are the comedies, and the low lows are those emotional, deep, dark fucking moments where people are dying or trying to commit suicide. And Ray thinks that Harry's not going to shoot him from a big distance, and then he does shoot him at a big distance.
What's so interesting was you mentioned the fact that it's a good thing that he got the gun. What's the first thing that Ray does? Loses his gun.
Yeah. I think as he jumps out of the window, he loses it. No, he loses it when he jumps into the boat.
Onto the boat, it falls out of his pocket into the river.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. And Ray hobbles and stumbles with a wound in his abdomen, I would say. And he gets to, I'll do this. He gets to the film set.
Yeah.
As this is it. Basically, he sees this. He hobbles in, and he's like, and then
Jimmy recognizes Ray, and he's like, well, obviously he's dying.
Yeah. Fucking.
And it's just the parallel shot of what happened between Ray and the priest and the child, and now it's Harry, Ray, and the child. Well, the child being Jimmy.
Yeah, as Harry kind of shoots him multiple times at the back, same way as we saw the flashback, and then we see Harry kind of walks around, and he sees a child with his face mangled all over the place in a schoolyard or a schoolboy
uniform.
Outfit.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I have my conviction.
No, because even Ray tries to stop him, like, no, that's not. He's like, nope, you have to. Well, a man has to keep his code. And
Yeah, man's got to keep his code. Puts a gun in his mouth and kablooey. And you're like, holy fucking shit.
yeah.
Went darker than before. And it's like when Ken dropped from the tower, I was like, this can't be that dark. And then Jimmy's face has been blown off. It's like, oh my God. And now Harry, he could have not committed suicide.
Well, the thing is too is had he listened to
Out of
Ray,
code.
which is like again we mentioned the whole concept of purgatory in this, where even before when Ken and Harry were in the clock tower, he did thank him for bringing him to Bruges. Because like you're right, it's like a fairy tale end. So in many ways, for Ken, Bruges was more like heaven, and for Ray, Bruges is like hell. Which we're gonna get to that line in a second, but had Ray listened to had Harry listened to Ray, and Ray telling him that no, that was not a child trying to save Ray's life, that kind of absolves Ray of his sin that he had committed
Trying
before.
to save Harry's life. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I think Bruges for Ken was heaven, and for Harry it was hell.
For Harry, you mean Ray?
No, for Ray it was purgatory.
Oh, okay.
Because if you
I
look at
guess.
the boss and the two henchmen, basically, even though Ken was a murderer, a multi murderer.
Correct.
Ray was a one-time murderer, but he killed a kid by accident. He killed the priest on purpose, but he killed the kid on accident. And he was trying to find redemption.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in purgatory. Harry was there because he was so far deep into evil, it didn't really matter what he was doing because he went to kill anybody. It would have been Ray if Ray was there. It would have been Ken instead of Ray. Still, it's not like it's an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of a deal. It's basically, I'm going to kill either one of you.
One of them's going to die.
Is going to die.
Yeah.
So Harry is in hell. And to me, the epitome of this is, has Ray got his redemption? Is still in limbo.
Yeah.
And they say purgatory, but it's not purgatory. It's limbo, which is the more appropriate one to me.
Yes. Well, they're trying to use more of the Christian Catholic allegory.
Yes,
Then
I know.
Yeah.
It's Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. But
or Alighieri's comedy, I would say. Dante's Inferno.
It's Inferno. Yeah. The Divine Comedy.
The Divine Comedy. The last shot is basically this. It's Ray saying, I want to live.
I want to live.
I know. I hope I live. And it kind of...
Well, and before that, too, he says, maybe that's what hell is, spending the rest of eternity in fucking Bruges.
In Bruges. And that's kind of like, you had to give that last little...
Last little laugh.
Yeah, last little zinger to finish us off. And that's the end of the movie. I would say it's a very powerful ending.
Mm-hmm.
It's very emotional ending. Regardless, even if you think the Ken moment was the highest, I think that Harry's death is the most, because it's
Impactful?
it's so out of left field, right? To me, it was so out of left field. When I saw this for the very first time, it was like, nah, boom. It was like, oh shit. That's a holy shit moment. Ken dying, he was going to die anyway. He was dead as soon as he didn't pull the trigger at that
In the park.
at the playing ground with Ray. That to me sealed the deal. Regardless of what would happen throughout the movie. If Ken would have stayed alive, that would have been the most surprising thing to me. Harry being dead by his own hands, no less, was the most shocking thing to me. Especially becoming like it's like the last minute of the movie as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie, out of the ordinary movie, getting you down low, putting you in that place of darkness, and then right back up again with a zinger or two, and you're like, what? Where am I? What am I doing? What is this? What is going on? Let me watch this movie again. And that's what happened to me this week.
All right. Well, are you glad that I recommended it to you? It took you forever to watch it, but
yeah. And this is what, and every single time you bring up these movies that I either saw before or haven't thought about it in a very long time, haven't seen before, or something that I should have watched but I haven't, and I put it off, and then I finally get to watch it because of your recommendation, your kind of encouragement, and it was like, yes, of course, this is why Oh My Feelings tells me to watch this, because he knows where my love is when it comes to movies, where I do like my blockbusters. I do like my, my popcorn movies. I do like my action and my pop culture stuff. But what I really like is a smart movie, character base, takes you on a journey. It doesn't have to go all the way this, but when it does, and it does it in a smart, fun, and dark way, it could be just great. It was absolutely in my bag of tricks to sort of offer something out of the ordinary to people.
all right.
That kind of sums it up, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Next week, what do we got next week? Is it LA Confidential? No, it can't be. What do we have for you next week?
I thought that was at the end of the month.
Let me see. It is.
Oh, it's
Next
okay.
week, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing something completely different. Completely different. We ask you to go and watch LA Confidential with Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, and what's her face? She was married to Alec Baldwin.
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger. Or Basinger. Yeah, LA Confidential next week. Special guest, Polly from Latino Slant, which you haven't met. I have met before. It's going to be a great conversation because he's from LA.
All right.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, please go and watch LA Confidential. It's a great movie. If you haven't watched it before, great. That's a great first-time experience. If you have watched it before and haven't watched it in a very long time, watch it again. You'll learn and you see new things. I promise. Or not. I do promise that. You watch, you get a different experience now than like in 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched this movie in about 10 years, so I'm excited for it because I'm pretty sure I'll find out new things that I haven't even like considered before.
Yep.
All right. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, farewell, goodbye, and remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.